Profit and loss. Well, hold on, that wouldn't be profit, because profit is after income minus expenses. So it can't be profit and loss. Look, we right back at debunking another saying. Profit and loss.
Where you get all these sayings that are not true.
Profit and loss. That's nothing true about that, because profit includes loss. Well, maybe because if there isn't a profit, it ends up being loss. As opposed to saying income or revenue, it's like It's either profit or it's loss. This is why you need to think about what you say so you can learn the actual meanings of it or debunk it, because perception is reality anywhere, everywhere, and nowhere.
And the way you do anything is the way you do everything.
Everywhere. But yeah, like, think about income, expenses will end up in profit or loss. Regardless of if it's profit or loss, you will have spent a total amount of hours working on getting to that outcome.
One thing I like to add is too many people make the mistake of not counting what they actually spend in the business. Like, if you spend $1,000 to get this, but then you make $600. Well, I made $600. No, you're minus $400.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people don't see it that way. I made $600. You spend $1,000 next. You mentioned that at the beginning. You might make $1,000, but it costs you, when you get to the end of the year, it costs you $1,500. You know,
mm-hmm.
So you really didn't make.
But for a lot of people that don't have a W-2, and which is kind of what I think about as the root of this entrepreneurship conversation, especially within our community, is a lot of those people that don't have a W-2, yes, it might have cost them $1,200, but they made $1,000. They say, I made $1,000 because they paid their rent with that $1,000. They got food and groceries with that $1,000. They put gas in the car with that $1,000. So they did make it. Even though they had already spent more than that, they got to see it. Versus in a business, when you work for a company, you make money and you see it all the time. For people in that entrepreneur lane, you don't see it frequently. So that one event, that one thing where they make that $600, that they really are negative $400, they ain't seen $600 in 2 months. Mm-hmm. So it's tricky.
Yeah.
I think about it more so from the hourly perspective, where if I was to go work at Kroger, I mean, I would laugh at them if they said, we're going to pay you $2 an hour. I would say, y'all are disrespectful if they said $5 an hour. But if you do your profit and loss, and then you say, I spent 100 hours to make this $100 profit, you just work for $1 an hour. We were saying about podcasting and other things earlier. Sometimes you have to scrape by doing $1 an hour work, because later on when you get that big contract for $25 million, it's going to balance out to where you were working for $1 an hour up front, but when we even up the numbers, you got paid your $20 an hour for those hours. You got paid $100 an hour for those hours. Mm-hmm. So it depends. Or if you're a serial entrepreneur, you dub that venture, go to another one, you never got paid anything for those hours. So think about that. Think about the profit and loss. Think about the risk and the risk you're willing to take, because I'm a very risk-averse person. I've noticed that. And because of that, I will miss out on a lot of ridiculous growth on certain things. If I could pick the right stock, I could 10x the money. If I could pick the right batch of companies, I could turn 1,000 into 1,000,000. But being a little more risk-averse is saying, I'm okay with my 1,000 being 10,000 when I need it. I don't need it to be 1,000,000, because there's a lot of people that they 1,000 going to be 0. I don't gamble, so I know that my 1,000 could end up between 0 and 1,000,000, or I can go do something where it's going to be 10. Just give me my 10. It's a safe play. But everyone got a different risk level. Some people win big, lose big. Some people gamble. Some people roulette. Some people blackjack. Some people, you got to know your risk level when it comes to your personal finances, when it comes to your life, with what you're willing to risk for your business, what you're willing to risk for your family, what you're willing to risk for your ego, for your pride. Some things are like, when you examine the whys behind them, like, I'm willing to risk this. I'm willing to put this on the table, and maybe it worked, maybe it don't. But the reward is worth the risk, so it works for me. What's your risk level, and what would you tell people as the wise elder in the room and on the podcast? How would you tell the young people or middle-aged people or anybody to approach risk, kind of looking back on it?
I'm very conservative. I've always been low risk. And that's just the way I've always been. Of course, you, as you said, you don't get the big hits, but you're consistent. It's more consistent. Some people are going to take those risks and benefit, and some people are going to take them and lose. You said it all, really. You've got to know where you are in that and what you're willing to, where your comfort level is.
You also got to take some losses along the way. So you learn your comfort level because you lost $50. You lost $500. You lost $2,000. You said, actually, I don't like this feeling, so I know that as I start making more, I know as I start doing different moves that I can lose $10,000. I can lose $100,000. It's not worth it to me. I've seen that I can lose $50 and I won $200, but I lost $50. The losing $50 hurts more than making $200. So this ain't the game for me. A lot of people, I think, whether this is stocks, gambling, sports betting, whatever you got going on, or just life, risking it on entrepreneurship, risking it with your health, how you moving, the risk is worth the reward. I keep saying it backwards because we dyslexic. Can we self-diagnose ourselves on this podcast with dyslexia?
Why are we like that? What are you saying?
Because we say things backwards and we can't say words right, and then also because we sometimes write our sentences backwards and have to correct the commas. And as I went through the list, do you want me to pull up the list that we self-diagnosed right here? Because we can do it.
What list you talking about?
Let's see if we can get a test for dyslexia right here. Appears bright, highly intelligent, and articulate, but unable to read, write, or spell at a grade level.
At a grade level? At the whatever grade they're in, you mean?
It just said at A grade level.
A grade? That could be first grade. You could be in 12th grade and that could be first grade. What you talking about?
Labeled lazy, dumb, careless, immature, not trying hard enough, or behavior problem. I don't think anybody's ever labeled you that. I think I've probably been labeled lazy and careless. We actually just pointed out that you made me write careless on my light switch, so I see it every day when I turn the light on and off. So, I mean, I wasn't behind enough or bad enough to be helped in the school setting.
What do you mean?
They wasn't doing right, but they wasn't doing wrong enough to, like, really make a problem out of it. They wasn't behind enough or wasn't bad enough to, like...
What kind of person is that?
Dyslexic.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see what else I got. High in IQ, yet may not test well academically. Or test well orally, but not written. Was that me?
No.
Oh, good. I'm not dyslexic by these four.
You tested well.
Okay. I'm gifted. That's a new workaround. That's a new workaround we have to avoid getting canceled when you want to call somebody let's get off of this before.
Yeah, you've already crossed the line too much with the...
What, with that musty store out?
Yes, Lord.
I'm going to edit most of that musty store out, Leroy, but I'm going to leave a lot of that. Career, entrepreneurship, real estate. I don't have much to say about real estate. I came out net even. I think real estate's overrated. I think it's just like Actually, I'm not going to say that. I have to be responsible with this platform because I said entrepreneurship was a little overrated. It is when you're doing it wrong. I also say real estate is overrated when you're doing it wrong. And let me add some context to that. Doing it wrong is doing anything from an ego-based perspective, looking to gain status, looking to gain power, looking to be seen as... Basically, if it's anything that's lacking in humility or the opposite of humility, if it's pride instead of humility, that's doing something wrong. So if you're doing real estate to say I'm a homeowner, that's wrong. That's ego, that's pride. Like we talk about, you bought a home, you're 30 years in on the same home because of a real reason. That's not to say that you're better than. It's not to say that you're this because you own a home, but it's for the safety and security of owning your home.
Exactly.
A lot of people, I think, are just doing these things the same way that some people say, I'm a business owner, I'm an entrepreneur, because they have an entrepreneurial spirit and they have that hustle in them and they grind. It's not to say I don't work for nobody. It's to say that I work for me. It's if you get a home to say, I'm a homeowner, I'm not a renter. That's wrong. If you start in a business to say, I don't work for nobody, I'm a boss, that's wrong. So homeownership is great in the right context. It's the number one way to build, retain, and share wealth. Same for entrepreneurship. If we're going to be honest, in the right context, it's great. Probably the number one creator, sustainer, and share of wealth, not only with your generations, but with people that you employ. If you employ.
Yeah.
If you do it right. So homeownership isn't overrated. It is if you're just doing it to check a box and add something to your ego, or maybe make yourself say, I did this, I am this. But my homeownership wasn't that. So I'm not like projecting or jaded about it. My homeownership wasn't to build generational wealth. My homeownership wasn't for a like fiscal responsible asset. It was my homeownership was convenience, and something that I have later down on this list is the quality of life cost. It's like my homeownership was I can buy a bigger house, I can buy a smaller house, I can buy a condo, I can go in this neighborhood, I can go there, but I want to ride my bike 5 minutes to class every night. I want to put 2,000 miles on my car in a year. So therefore, I paid the quality of life cost to buy the type of home and the type of place that I bought it in. That cost means that you don't get long-term gains. You don't get the fiscal part of it. But think about if you're going to buy your home for that. If you're getting ready to buy a house in Stone Mountain, if you're getting ready to buy a house in Pflugersville or Leander, if you're getting ready, I just did Atlanta and Austin talk. Those are just far out neighborhoods from the city. So if you're getting ready to just like decrease your quality of life for this asset, which is realistically a liability because you're tied to this mortgage, think about your profit and loss and think about your why. Think about the future. Think about if I buy this house now, what happens in 3 years if I have life changes, career, relationship, children? What happens if we're at the age now where I have friends and know people that like parents are aging? So what happens if I buy this house now and I need to take care of a parent, but I bought a house for me. I don't have room for this parent here. Or I need to go take care of the parent where they at. Now I got this house. Something happened with your leasing. I just end the lease. Pay these next 3 months and I can go do what I do. What if you can't sell? What if you sell it and after all your fees you owe another 20 that you ain't got right now? What if there's so many things that think about your why. Entrepreneurship, real estate, homeownership. Think about your why. Do your profit and loss. Think about your what ifs. Do your 5-year, do your 10-year, do your 15-year, because you signed up for a 30-year mortgage. So, and you're not locked into it. I bought a condo in 2019, sold it in 2022. So you can sell it. I mean, it's not like you can't get out of it. I lucked up and got out of it positive. If the person who bought it after me wanted to sell it, they would get out of it negative. But that's the way the game goes. We got to tell both sides of the story of some people lose their shirts in home ownership. In real estate, renters, you can tell horror stories of having rental properties and you just losing money and losing peace of mind. Like cost benefits. I just did my soapbox on real estate. What's your real estate perspective to share with this?
I think it can be solid, but in all things, I think you need to do your homework. People got to do their homework. You got to know what you're getting into. A lot of times you walk into things, you don't realize the cost involved in it. Even if you're going to buy a home, there's more than you just paying that mortgage. There's insurance, there's taxes. They're going to change. There's repairs. There's always something that you're going to have to do. And you don't take that into consideration. Your appliance is going to break down. You're going to have to repair them, replace them. So it's a lot involved in that. And you just need to go into it with that knowledge. I think it's important. Whatever you decide to do, you mentioned why. Why is always key. I think we started this with the why. You've got to know the why. Always ask yourself and be honest with yourself as to the why. And then some things you probably don't need to do. My why, and Joshua knows the why. I'm not opposed to renting. I'm not opposed to any of that. I never feel more or better than anybody because of any situation. But you got to know why. And everybody should have a reason. You need to have a reason as to why you do what you do. And be honest with it. I think mine's legit. It helped me feel better and more comfortable because of what happened. A life-changing situation happened when I was a little kid. Things that happen will affect you. You don't live in the past, but your past does affect you. It was a negative thing, but I think it affected me in a positive way. And I think I made the right decision for me. And I would do the same thing over again. But I think real estate is good as even with renting. You got to count the cost. The whole thing is counting the cost. The Bible speaks of that.
It does.
You know?
Every time you say it, I've thought about how it says that in the Bible. And
count the cost.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you got to do. So do your homework. Whatever you're going to do your homework.
I think that's the problem. And I think we identified that in this conversation is that this generation, this age, counts the profit, but we don't count
the cost.
We don't count the loss. We count the income, we don't count the expense. So we see the money made, we don't see what it takes to make it.
Mm-hmm.
We don't see the time that goes in. And I say we because I can't say y'all, because I'm guilty of the same things and have been guilty of some of the same things. We just don't see it. We see the end result. We don't see the that's why I like the artists I listen to, is they seem to talk about, and some people they don't resonate with it because it's like, why is it so negative? Why is they talking about the journey? And it's like, yes, you see the shine, but there was a grind before a shine, and all of the struggle that happened and continues to happen, because while it's shining, more money, more problems. I think that was another lesson from this trip back home, and just realizing is that more money, more problems. There is cost to quality of life, and some of the costs aren't fiscal. Like, you have to think about what it costs your mental state,
mm-hmm.
what it costs you emotionally, what it costs you time, because that's a favorite analogy of mine is, you know how much money is in your bank account. So you know when you're running low, you know when you're getting more money, you know if you're not getting no more money. If you had a time bank account, you don't know what's in there.
Mm-mm.
You don't know if you get another 2 weeks, a check coming, you have no clue. We could be I could be using my last 30 minutes right now. I've kind of lived my life like that. And that's probably why I probably do too much sometimes, because you could be on your last 30 minutes at any second. Versus the other look is, oh yeah, I'll be here till I'm 80. I'm going to be here at least till I'm 100 something. Like, no, you might not be here 100 more seconds. So looking at life from a balance where you count your cost, say, how long can this last me? And you kind of always want to make sure it can outlast you, knowing that you might not last that long. So say, how long can this last me? You don't want to say, oh, this can last me 10 years. Like, whatever I set aside, I want to leave and it be some left over.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want it to run out while I still got time here. So, tricky. Assets, liabilities. The quality of life cost is assets to me. There's a bunch of different assets. Daniel needs to be here to speak about this. Call Daniel if you want to talk about anything, money, finance.
Yeah, assets, liabilities, and risk.
Yeah, life insurance, financial planning, financial advice, different type of investment strategies, risk mitigation. He's the expert on this. We just people talking what we feel. But assets, there's 1,000 ways to skin a cat. My personal is, if I can't touch it, I don't care about it. I got some stocks and all that stuff. I don't go heavy in it. I want the things that I can see, and I know that I can sell if I wanted to. So give me the watches, the cars, the homes, the insured assets, the art, because I know that if I have a piece of art worth $10,000, I can put that in a car, get to driving around galleries with the certification, and find $10,000. I know a lot of people that had a lot more than $10,000 worth of crypto or worth of stocks, and then something happened in the market and they wanted to sell, they couldn't log into an account. Or they went in and they couldn't press the sell button. To me, that's unacceptable.
Yeah.
That's unacceptable. If I have 1.3 million and I'm watching my 1.3 turn to 700, I'm watching that 700 turn to 600, and y'all won't let me pull out if I want to, I might have wanted to pull out at 1.3. I done lost half of that.
That happened?
It happens. Whenever something spooky gets to happening around like the markets, and let's say something's tanking and you know them investors about to pull, somehow bleep, 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 all of those places that what do you call them? The institutions and the brokerages and the places that you move the money, either you can't get in, login issues, or they just don't allow buys or sells because too many people buying, too many people selling, market manipulation. Oh, so when the people are winning or losing, manipulating the market, we can stop that. But y'all manipulate the market all day, every day, and it just happens. So I don't like to play in that game. I know that I could take this Rolex off my wrist, put it into the box, take it and the papers, and find some money for it. Them stocks, we had MySpace pages. We have a lot of pictures from MySpace days. Somebody find your MySpace pictures. You probably don't even have the email address that you had during the MySpace pictures. Who's to say that, like, as technology continues to grow and evolve, that things won't just slip through the crack? I got an NFT somewhere. I don't know what that NFT is worth. I don't know how to get to it. I don't know what the collection's doing. I don't have no... What was the metaverse? I don't have no mansion in the metaverse to put it in. And that could be all them stocks. That could be all of them Bitcoins. That could be everything. So give me what I can see. I got a deed to a house. I got a title to a car. These are reality things. I should have some stocks in that brokerage. I should have some shares that I own in that brokerage somewhere. Confirm it. That's so risk adverse. Daniel is going to hate that message.
I don't think so.
Daniel's going to hate. It's just my perspective. I don't tell anyone not to buy stocks. I made a lot of money on stocks. I mean, I just said I don't like real estate and I don't like stocks, but I traded stocks to get enough money to buy my real estate and then sold my real estate. So there are two avenues and games that I played. I just don't play them no more because I won them. I guess that's the thing.
Yeah.
After you beat the game, you don't really care to play it no more, you know?
No, when you like to win, you want to leave out a winner.
That's why I gamble. I won stocks during COVID. I won real estate post-COVID. And I ride off in the sunset in my Porsche.
Yeah.
And I'm 30. But see, that's funny. I was sitting at lunch, and let's see, where can we take this in our list? I was sitting at dinner with two of my frat brothers. We went to Georgia Tech together. They were my mentors, are my mentors. And we were just talking, and it's about that, is perception.
Y'all keep going back to perception, don't you?
It's because of perception, because I just said I won. I said I made a little 5 figures off of stocks. I bought and sold a little $250,000 home. And now I can ride off in the sunset with a little sports car. And that's a win. To some people, they have done 10 times that. They're losing. Some people, they have done 1,000 times that and are still doing 1,000 times that. And they ain't won yet. Perception. What are you searching for? What do you need? What do you want? What is it that makes you feel like a winner? What is it that makes you say, this is enough? I've done enough. Just because I have a Porsche and I say, wow, I won, don't mean that I don't still have goals and steps to get a Ferrari. But if you don't, you still won. Just because you made $1 million and you have goals to make 10, you won already. You're not losing. I think that it's just we got to change our perspective and look at what all you have done. You have graduated from high school. You have gotten accepted into a college. You might have not graduated at college, but you accepted into a college. You know how many people didn't get accepted? You graduated at college. You know how many people didn't graduate? All right, you didn't get a job. You know how many people don't have a job but don't have the college experience? It's like, just think about what you do have. Don't think about what you don't have. And then you'll feel like a lot more of a winner if you look at your wins as opposed to...
And I think that's what happened. People don't look at the wins. They focus on the negatives instead of the positives. And that's a big thing, too, with people. And if you ever get out of that, then you will be a happier person, more positive. And the truth is, with that mentality, you get more wins.
Every day you win more. Every day.
Continue to win. So that is one time. I'm not going to say perception is reality, but it makes your perspective better. And it helps you along the way.